demonstrations, if I may. I have a small box, and in the small box, I have a single die. Two are dice, one is die, D-I-E. And what I'm going to do is hand this to someone, the box and the die, and I'm going to ask them if they will, please to take the die out of the box when I bring it to you. And then I'm going to ask you to take any number you want and put it face up in the box. However, if you want, you may instead want to memorize the number on the bottom. It's up to you. And then I'll have you close the box and set it down on the table in front of you. I cannot see into the box. I dare say no one can. And if I may, I'm going to hand, and forgive me please, I only use the aisles because it's easier to get to and from. May I hand you the box? And I'm going to ask you, if you will, I will turn my back. I'm going to ask you please to take the die out. I'm going to ask you please to then take the die, if you will, and then to memorize either the number on the bottom or the number on top, put it back into the box, and then close the box and tell me when you're ready. I'm ready. Okay. And please remember the number. Do you want me to think of the number on the bottom or the number on the top? The bottom. Okay, very good. And now, I have another set of dice, 2 die, and a dictionary. Now, I'm going to take the dice, and I'm going to demonstrate here a moment. I'm going to roll them. I apologize for the loud rattling, clattering noise. When I roll the dice, 2 numbers come up on it, and you can see there's a 5 and a 4. The 5 and the 4 can either be configured as a 45, a 54, or they can be added together as 9. And the dice can be rolled into any configuration, into any numbers. And so what I am going to do is I am going to ask, if I might, I'm going to ask you please to roll the dice so that you can announce to all present. The dice have come up. Do you like those numbers?
Sure.
And what are those numbers?
3 and 1.
A 3 and a 1. Would you all like that to be 31, 13, or 4?
13.
Okay, 13, because today is Thursday the 13th. It is 12, 13, 12. Now, if I may I hand you the dictionary? You all would like the number 13, is that correct? So I'm going to ask you please to turn to page 13 in your dictionary. And I'm going to ask you as well, if you look at page 14, you'll notice, had 14 been selected, the words are different. Had 12 been selected, the words are different. I'm going to ask you to turn to 13, if you will. I'm going to ask you please to look at the first bold print defined word on 13. And I want you to concentrate on it, okay? And as you concentrate on it, I am going to write my impression. And I am going to hand this, if I may, and hand you my written impression. Just hold on to the dictionary. Those around you may look. Now, I have a card that is from the National Institute of Parapsychology. Parapsychology, as you all know, began in the United States essentially 1927. Doctors Joseph Banks and Louisa May Ryan at Duke University started the first Institute of Parapsychology, where they researched psi phenomena. Psi phenomena, as we know, are utilizing senses beyond the initial 5 senses of hearing, smell, taste, touch, and vision. Instead, they were looking at the senses beyond, being able to communicate mind to mind, seeing things that were happening in a distant place, predicting what was going to happen before it did, feeling energy in an object, bless you, and moving objects without touching them. That was the research that was done at Duke University. I have a card here from the National Institute of Parapsychology, and I'm going to ask, if I may, I'm going to ask you, please, we have words here, word list number 1. I'm going to ask you, please, to silently select any word from that list. Don't tell me what it is, silently select it. And you have your word. Very good. Because I'm going to ask you now, on this side, you see word list number 2. I'm going to ask you to silently select a word from that list that goes along with your first word, is connected to your first word, is somehow related to your first word. And you have that, yes? Please remember the second word. You can let the first word go. So that way I'm even further distance from what you may be thinking. And now I'm going to ask numbers. Let's see here. We have a list of 3-digit numbers. Is that correct? And I'm going to ask you please to silently select any 3-digit number you want. Okay. And I'm going to ask you to take those 3 digits and to silently add them together, and that will give you a new number. You have that new number. Now, had you selected a different 3-digit number, it would add up to a different number, because they all add up to different numbers. I want you to rest assured. Okay? Now, on this side, you see numbers, and you see the new number that you created by adding the 3 digits together. Okay, is there a word next to it? Yeah. Okay, please remember that word. Okay? So now, we are distanced from the words. Is that correct? From the numbers, and you have a word, and there are a lot of words floating around, and numbers, and different things. Now, on the die, you selected a number at random and put it into the box. And you want the number on the bottom. Is that correct? Correct. So I want you to concentrate on that number. Only you know that number. No one else does. And you're sending me an impression. If this is correct, please, I want you to let the class know, bless you, that it's correct. And if we get it right, it's nothing to sneeze at. Bless you. Yes, the number on the die that you're thinking of, it's hidden from view because it's on the bottom. It's the number 2. Is that correct? Correct. All right. And I will ask to get the box and the die back at the end. And you're thinking of a word. Is that correct? And you selected it at random by adding numbers together, coming up with a new number, and then selecting a word at random from a whole list of numbers and words. Is that correct? I'd like you to spell it over and over in your mind, and at the same time I'd like you to spell your word over and over in your mind, okay? Because I'm getting the impression you're sending, as you're spelling it over and over, a letter A. And I'm seeing, yes, you got an A too, didn't you? Oh, yeah, I'm talking to him, but you got an A and an I. See that I? Is that correct? Yes. You have an A, and now I'm seeing an N as you're spelling it over and over in your mind. Is that correct? Yes, and you're spelling yours over and over, and there's an I in your word. Is that correct? And G. We'll come back to that. You have an A and an N, and I'm seeing an E. Is that correct? Is that not correct? I might have turned it around. That may be an S. Is that correct? It is. Yes, yes. It's an S. Because I'm seeing a land mass for your word. And your word, it's a country. Yeah, because there were lots of words, and you're looking at a country and I'm seeing water around it, and you're thinking of, yes, you're thinking of S-P-A-I-N. Is that correct? You're thinking of Spain. And you're thinking of, yes, this is very bright what you're thinking of, because you're thinking of the word L-I-G-H-T. Is that correct? Light. And you selected a word at random from the dictionary, from dice that were rolled at random. And the number that was rolled were a 1 and a 3. They could have been put together as 4, 31, 13. 13 was the selected number. You selected a word. We wrote it down. Someone is holding the piece of paper. Is that correct? You have the piece of paper. I wrote my prediction down. You're thinking of the word B-A-I-T, bait. Is that correct? I want to thank you all. I want you all to do well Monday. It was a pleasure to be able to be here with you this month.